Brian, can you hear me okay?
All right. Yeah, John, we can hear you.
Okay, that's great. I will log out until I hear from you.
Okay, I'll send you a text when it's time.
That sounds great. Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Jackie, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. I had a cat in front of my computer. Just scooch her away so I could get to my keyboard.
That's all right. I understand. Did you have anyone sign up for tonight?
I don't believe so. Let me check real quick.
It's not that important. It doesn't really matter.
Let's see. John Stambaugh.
I think he was last night, wasn't he?
He was. He signed up for like 3 different hearings.
Oh, okay. So,
I don't know
okie
if
dokie.
I don't know if he'll actually speak or if he just wanted to sign up that he was here.
To listen. Okay.
I don't know.
All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna go feed my cats. I'll be back.
All right.
Jackie, this is Rachel Niemeyer with the company. Can you hear me?
I heard you.
So many numbers here. So I don't know.
ID number. Listed above.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we'll start
Yes.
yes, we'll start the hearing in a few minutes.
Okay, thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. And before we begin this evening's local public hearing, I just want to make sure I have representatives from the parties available and on the line. Do I have a representative or representatives from Missouri American Water Company?
Yes.
Thank you. And do I have a representative from the Public Service Commission staff?
David
Yes.
Spratt.
Okay, thank you. And Office of Public Counsel.
Lindsay Van Gerpen on behalf of OPC.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll go ahead and begin this evening's local public hearing, and I'd like to thank everyone for attending. This hearing is for the Missouri American Water Company water and sewer rate cases. My name is Debbie Quick, and I'm a member of the Public Service Commission staff. I will facilitate the question and answer session for the hearing. This hearing is streaming live on the Public Service Commission website. Please mute your line unless speaking to reduce excess noise. There are two parts to tonight's hearing. The first part is an informal session, and the second part is the formal session. The first part is the question and answer session. You will be able to ask any questions you may have about the case of the representatives that will identify themselves again shortly. They will be available to answer any questions you may have. This part of the hearing will stream live on the Commission's website, but will not be recorded or on the record. The judge and commissioners do not participate in this part of the hearing since the case is still being decided. There is a general information sheet regarding this rate case on the Public Service Commission's website. That is psc.mo.gov if you'd like more information. The sheet is accessible from the home page. If you have any trouble trying to access the sheet, you may contact the Public Service Commission's Consumer Information Department, and that number is 800-392-4211, and staff can assist you. The second part of the hearing is the comment or testimony session with the judge and commissioners. During this formal part of the hearing, your statement will be on the record, so it will be recorded and will become a part of the case file. You won't be able to ask questions in this part of the hearing since the case is still active. The commissioners will review the filings in the case record to make their decision on the case, so it is very important for you to have your comments be a part of the record. The judge, commissioners, or counsel for the parties may ask you a question, but you wouldn't be able to ask a question in the second part of the hearing. Again, the second part of the hearing is on the record, and the court reporter will be transcribing the comments. The court reporter will not transcribe the question and answer session. At this point, I'd like to ask the representatives to unmute their lines and identify themselves when introduced. I will begin with Missouri American Water Company.
Good evening. This is Rachel Niemeyer on behalf of Missouri American Water Company. And with me this evening is our president, Rich Svenland, who would like to give an opening statement if the commission will allow.
Yes, please proceed.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. I want to welcome all customers who are participating in this public hearing and thank you for your interest and input in this important process. My name is Rich Svenland. I'm the president of Missouri American Water. I'm proud to lead a team of more than 700 dedicated employees across the state that provide water or wastewater services to approximately 1.5 million Missourians in 30 counties. As you know, we filed a request with the Missouri Public Service Commission to review our water and wastewater rates last July. This request started an 11-month process in which the Public Service Commission staff and the Office of Public Counsel conduct a thorough review of our operations and maintenance expenditures, as well as all of our capital investments. We know there is never a good time to ask for a change in rates, but we have a responsibility to properly maintain and upgrade our systems to provide safe, clean, and reliable services to residents and businesses across the state. Any new rates approved by the Missouri Public Service Commission are not expected to become effective until mid-2023. Our request is primarily driven by nearly $770 million of system improvements that have been completed or will be completed soon. That includes the replacement of lining and installation of approximately 280 miles of pipe and the targeted replacement of lead service lines. Improvement also include treatment plant upgrades, new storage tanks, fire hydrants, meters, and a variety of other construction projects to continue to improve service reliability and water quality. Continually investing to replace aging infrastructure is key to protecting customers, the communities we serve, and the environment. While costs to provide water and wastewater service continue to increase across the country, our investments and operational efficiencies help us provide high-quality service that we believe continues to be of exceptional value. If the Public Service Commission approves the request as proposed, the bill for a typical volumetric water customer using an average of 4,200 gallons a month would increase about $12 to $13 per month. The bill for a typical volumetric wastewater customer would stay about the same as it currently is. And the bill for a flat rate wastewater customer would increase by $3 to $9 per month, depending on the service area. I should note that the amount of any changes to customers' monthly bills may be different from those I just stated based on the decisions by the commission and the individual usage levels. Also, while water bill is typically the lowest utility bill, we know it's not the only bill that needs to be paid, and some families may need assistance. There's information on our website, MissouriAMWater.com, on customer assistance options, including low-income grants, installment plans for past due balances, and budget billing. We also strive to provide exceptional customer service, but know there's always room for improvement. If you have any questions, comments, or an account issue that you would like us to look into, please email us at president.moaw@amwater.com. Again, that's president.moaw@amwater.com. On behalf of all of our employees across the state, we appreciate the opportunity to provide you and your family with safe, clean, and reliable service. Thank you again for participating in this process, and I will now turn the hearing back over to the PSC staff.
Thank you. The representative from the Public Service Commission staff.
David Spratt for Water and Sewer staff. I'm one of the case managers of this case. I've been following it since the beginning.
Okay, thank you. And then the Office of Public Counsel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Lindsay Van Gerpen. I'm an attorney with the Office of the Public Counsel.
Okay, and then if there are any other interveners who are on the line who would also like to introduce themselves and possibly take questions? And then the Office of Public Counsel.
Everyone, Lindsay Van Gerpen. I'm an attorney.
Okay, I don't hear any. Okay, and then if there are any other interveners who are on the line who would... If you're on the line, please mute your line unless you have to speak. We're getting some feedback, so just want to make sure everyone will be able to hear all the questions that people may have. If you are just a few housekeeping items, if you're joining us on video, there is a chat feature. This feature is not part of the record. If you have a question, you may use the chat feature and we will try to answer your questions as time allows. If you would like to make a comment to the commissioners, please make your comment in the second part of the hearing so that it is part of the record and not in the chat feature. I would like to ask that the representatives identify themselves before answering questions for those who are not on video. When you ask a question, please unmute your line. You may need to press *6 if you're joining the hearing by phone. Unless you're speaking, please make sure your line is muted to eliminate any excess noise so everyone will be able to hear the questions and the answers. And you may need to turn down your speakers if you are on video just to eliminate some feedback. Okay, we'll go ahead and begin. Please, we'll take questions one at a time. Please go ahead and speak up if you have a question and we'll take those one at a time. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes,
Again?
I have a question.
Okay.
I'd like to know how they came up with this, what I would deem as a pretty ridiculous rate increase of 25.7%. And also on the, I've had an issue with American Water Sewer Service and the way they bill ever since they've took over our sewer system out in my area. And it is that it's a flat rate. Like me and my wife, we're, older by ourselves, use very little water on a monthly basis compared to other households. But yet my sewer bill is charged the same. I mean, if I use 2,500 gallons a month, I pay the same sewer rate or bill charge as somebody that's using 20,000 gallons a month. I don't quite grasp how that's even a legitimate type charge when you're basically being, if you're a low-end user, you're being grossly overcharged. And in essence, a high-end user is not being charged adequately. Thank you.
Hey, this is Rich Svinland with Missouri American Water. Thank you for your question, sir. Let me address the second part first, the sewer flat rate. This is exactly why we're having this meeting tonight. And I would, if I can answer the question, but really you need to provide a comment in the next part of the meeting, which is saying, hey, I have an issue with the flat rate set up for sewer billing. There are different ways to bill customers. There's flat rate and there's volumetric rate. We do have some volumetric rates across the state, but currently we're set up for sewer to collect a flat rate. And that's just how the commission has approved our rate structure for sewer. As far as the 25% increase for the rate case in general, as I mentioned in my opening comments, it's driven by nearly $770 million of capital investment. And one of the challenges facing our industry right now is that we have a lot of capital needs, a lot of systems need to be upgraded. We've already went and spent a lot of that money, and now we're trying to seek recovery of it in rates. And this is what this process is all about. The commission will review that, and they'll make an appropriate finding, and basically the rates will be adjusted accordingly. But thank you for your question, sir.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Around August of last year, we took a rate increase, taking our rates from 26 cents per 1,000 gallons to approximately 47 cents per gallon for this exact reason, to revamp the infrastructure. So I'm just, right, we're a couple of months later, and now we're faced with an additional increase. So, you know, why was this not considered in the original rate increase of last year? And what's to stop the water company from coming to us in 6 months asking for a new rate increase? It just seems that we're asking for increases for things we've already, you know, paid for. And I'm trying to figure out, is there a miscalculation? Is there some poor planning? You know, what's driving the consistent request for rate increases? And why was this not done accurately in August?
Thanks for your question. I will, there's probably a couple of things going on here, so let me clarify. We've asked for a rate increase as part of a general rate case process, and that's what we're here to talk about today. And the company files those every couple of years to cover the capital cost and other changes in cost. Every 6 months or so, we do also increase rates for a water sewer infrastructure replacement charge. And the commission also reviews those costs to make sure they're reasonable and prudent before they allow them to go on the bills. There are millions and millions and millions of dollars of needs out there to invest in infrastructure upgrades over time. And unfortunately, where we are in the process is every 6 months or so, there will be a slight change in rates to accommodate the needed infrastructure improvement cost. And this is what this process is all about. So everyone can see what's going on with the cost, and the commission will review them and make a determination what's reasonable and appropriate.
Okay. One more question for you. So recently, Florissant, Missouri, undertook a large flood due to obviously inappropriate piping and, you know, overflow capabilities. And one of our historic sites was ultimately demolished. We turned to the water company for help to get that historic site fixed, and were completely denied. And the company also told us that there was nothing they could do to help, you know, increase the overflow capacity for this particular site so that we could prevent it from happening again in the future. So our community is pulling together to pay for this. So I'm really curious with this, you know, this particular increase. Are you guys going to do anything to help us fix this site that's been completely destroyed due to the lack of ability to move the overflow and flood?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what part of Florissant you're talking about. Let me clarify. We provide the water services for that area, not the wastewater services or the stormwater services. So if it was a wastewater or stormwater issue, unfortunately, that's not something we can help with. We do take into account when we have main breaks that happen and we cause damage, we fix that. That's part of what we do. But if there's, if you need more information on that particular issue, feel free to email me at the email I mentioned earlier, and we can talk about the specific location to see if there's something the water company is involved with. But based on what you're describing, it seems like it's more of an issue with the Metropolitan Sewer District.
Perfect. Thank you for your guidance.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I do have a question in the chat. Will the rate be reduced back when the improvement, the capital investment is met?
Theoretically, if no future investments were ever made, theoretically, the rates would reduce over time. Unfortunately, I'm here to say that the needs are pretty large over the next 20 years. That's just the reality of infrastructure in the U.S. at this time.
Okay, any other questions? Please remember to, if you've muted, please hit or press *6 to unmute.
I'm just sorry. I'm going to keep asking questions here. Currently, we are undergoing or experiencing, right, the replacement of pipes. I've had our main road tore up for quite a long time. The certain pieces have been moved from the sidewalk into my yard. Ultimately, what I'm trying to express is that this is a very large inconvenience. Nobody is running traffic. Again, you know, there are days where I can't even get out of my driveway, which, given the circumstances, sometimes understandable. But my question is, what oversight do you guys have over the crews out here actually doing the construction? And how do we communicate with you, you know, when we're not happy with it?
A great question. There's no doubt that we are doing a lot of system improvements across the county and across the state. We have inspectors on site. Typically, the municipality where we're working will also have people on site. So if there's an issue, feel free to reach out to those folks on staff. If that's not good enough, also feel free to email that address I just gave, president.moaw@amwater.com, and we'll fix it. No one should be you know, in a place where they can't get out of their driveway or there's an issue. Yes, sometimes there's going to be a temporary stoppage just to get the work done. But we are working, you know, incredibly hard to replace lead service lines across our service area and also replace old aging pipe. So there are going to be some minor inconveniences over time, but our team strives to provide the best customer service possible. And if we're not doing that, let us know and we'll fix it.
Great, thank you. And I noticed that they're only bringing up, right, they can only bring these lines up to a certain point within the yard. And in a lot of these old neighborhoods, you're ultimately connecting the new piping into a clay pipe oftentimes. Are there any implications, right? Because from that point to my house, I'm responsible for everything that happens with those pipes, from the joint where your new piping hits to where my clay piping is. Do you guys know of or foresee any potential implications to the old clay piping that's not being replaced, which is, you know, ultimately responsible of the homeowner?
Word there, you said clay pipe. That's an indication of the sewer line, and we don't do the sewer lines for that location. We do the water service line, and the way our rules are currently set up, if you have a lead or galvanized service line and it's part of the lead service line replacement program, we will go from the water main in the street all the way into the foundation of your house and replace that line. But what you mentioned is the clay service. So that's with the MSD group.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm getting confused with all of the things that are being reported.
No worries.
Okay, I have another question in the chat feature. Can you explain how a typical volumetric water number of 4,200 gallons per month was calculated? Noting the service area, no doubt average usage can vary across the state by rural versus urban and other parameters. This rate increase has the potential to impact some residential customers more than others. So has there been any efforts to better define the actual impacts to customers? And that is from CGL.
Hey, great question. And this is always a struggle because what volume do you pick to base the bill on? So we try to pick an average to account for what, you know, that there's pluses and minuses, and that's the number we used. Certainly, we can help a customer if you were worried about what your usage is, and we can look at your bills and help estimate what it would look like in the future. And you can email the same email address we gave previously to help you have a better plan for what the impact could be for your specific address.
Okay, any other questions while you have the representatives available to answer your questions?
Hello, I have a question.
Please proceed.
I was just curious, of Missouri American Water's revenues and profits, what percentage is saved into some kind of emergency fund, if there is any, to these types of projects?
Yeah, so great question. As an investor-owned utility regulated by the Missouri Public Service Commission, we don't have an emergency fund per se. We project all of our costs. The commission reviews those and makes a determination for rates. If something happens during the year and we have to spend the money to fix something, we fix it, and then we will seek recovery of that after the fact. So typically we're funding the money and then seeking recovery after it happens.
Okay. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. It sounds like there might have been someone else trying to ask a question. Is there someone else who has a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
My question is based on this increase rate, and I do comprehend that they're looking to get $770 million to complete some improvements. My question is, instead of such a large hit at the moment for your customers, could this be done in phases or something?
Great question. So the $770 million is cost we've already spent. And so we're seeking recovery of that cost. Currently, our capital plan shows the need for over $400 million for the next several years as well. And we will come back to the commission in the future to recover those costs.
Okay. Thank you for responding to that. I guess I have another question from that response. I know this is after the effect, but wouldn't it have been a lot easier if we could have made some increases during the process of when you were accruing this amount of funds that need to be recaptured?
No, great question. So you remember earlier, one of the questions had to do with, an increase last August. That's exactly what that was. We call it WSIRA, WSIRA. It's an infrastructure adjustment cost to help get those increases in over time as opposed to one big chunk. Those have been continuing going on. Some of that $770 million is already recovered through that WSIRA mechanism that we just talked about. So it is a phased approach in a way, but it doesn't cover every bit of the cost that has been spent.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one more question. I had earlier asked about your flat rate on your sewer versus a volumetric charge on sewer. For those who are on a volumetric charge for their sewer, do you all use a calculation, let's just say like using a average monthly usage rate, like during the winter, where, to be calculated for your monthly annual sewer rate? Because once you get past, probably February or March, homeowners are starting to use, water for watering plants, washing cars, watering the garden, watering the lawn, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, amounts of water that aren't going down the sewer system. So one shouldn't be charged for water that, is not going down to the sewer system to be processed. So I was kind of curious as to how you all calculate your, volumetric charge for sewer.
An excellent question, and you're exactly right. We do that. We try to take the winter average use as your sewer bill, if you will, and allocate it over the year, so that we're not accounting for irrigation demands on the water system.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other questions?
No.
It sounds like somebody may have a question. If you'd like to speak up. Okay, if that person is asking a question, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it. If you can maybe move closer to a speaker, if you were trying to ask a question. And remember to press *6 to unmute.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Valdez.
Okay, go ahead.
I reside in University City. In a year and a half, we had 2 sections of a water system that we believe was installed in 1940. And within a year and a half, there were 2 breaks in that line. The first one was quickly covered. The second one, which was not directly connected to the first one, burst in October, and water ran for over an hour. That piece was then fixed. But the question we have on our street is, if you've already had 2 pieces of piping from 1940, why would you not remove all of it at one time, repair all of it, to ensure us the sense of safety that we are now not going to experience a third break in that line? I'd appreciate hearing what your system of repair work is and how, again, we've already had 2 breaks in one line on our street. One house was critically damaged, and we face the opportunity of having that happen again.
Thank you for your question, and great question.
Water.
Yeah, the challenge that we run into is unfortunately we do have aging infrastructure all over the county, and so we prioritize the mains that are actually in worse shape than the one on your street that go first. Ultimately, the main on your street will be replaced. If it has a high breakage history, it jumps to the top of the line and gets replaced. So not a great answer for you, other than there are lines that are worse off that are getting replaced before the one on your street. But we will get to that street eventually.
Question?
Yes, you please ask your question.
All right. If I could follow up with you on that response, how would we learn when that overall piece of work would be started?
Yeah, so if you can send us an email to the address, we can tell you exactly kind of where we think that falls in the priority list. And hopefully that would help your community understand where we were on the schedule. And that email again was president.moaw@amwater.com. And if you would leave your name and street address, don't do it publicly, please, but in the email to us, then we can get back to you.
Yes, I'd be more than happy to do that. And would you please spell your last name for me?
Yeah, it's Svinland, SV as in S as in Sam, V as in Victor, INDLAND.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other questions? Again, this is your opportunity to ask any questions of the representatives before we move into the second part of the hearing.
Yes, I have another question. Following up on my prior question about the lack of like a savings fund and stuff. Are there any conversations or discussions taking place about potentially putting something like that in place to try to remove the burden of retroactively seeking these funds as American Water makes these investments?
A great question. I think if you wouldn't provide that comment in the next portion of the hearing, that would be good for the commission to hear that. There are different mechanisms to do what we call future test year. We have not proposed that in this case. Right now, currently, we spend the money and then we seek recovery of it. But in different ways of doing this, you can ask for permission to spend the money and they can say yes or no. That's outside the scope of this current case, but those are certainly comments the commission should hear if folks think that's a better way to do it.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, any last minute questions before we move into the second part of the hearing?
I have another question.
Okay.
Mr. Swinland, if you would please take a few minutes and describe for all of us the company that Missouri American Water is. I know that it is a company with investors, which means to me that with investors, they're seeking some kind of financial benefit from investing in Missouri American Water. If you would please just spend a few minutes explaining to us why a utility company is investor held.
Sure. I don't know the history going back 100 years ago when the county was formed, but the gist of it is the local governments at the time did not create a municipal water system. So private owners developed the water system that we have today. Because we are a monopoly, we are regulated, and I would say very tightly regulated by the Missouri Public Service Commission to make sure that what we're doing is within their rules and that we are charging just and reasonable rates. A lot of folks don't understand exactly how we make money, so I'll give you just a couple minutes on how that works. We do not make a profit on any of our operation and maintenance expenses. Those are dollar for dollar recovery of what the actual costs are. So for the employee that goes out and reads your meter, for the employee that fixes a main break, for the employee that is repairing a hydrant, that's a dollar for dollar recovery. Where we are allowed to earn a return, and the commission determines what that return should be, is on half of the capital cost that we invest in the system. Half the cost is financed with debt, and the interest charged for that debt is passed on to the customers dollar for dollar. And the other half of that cost is the investor's equity into the system. Currently, the commission allows a return on that. That's part of this case. The commission will determine what's the proper return for that investment. Now, who are the investors? That's always a great question. People want to know who are the investors of our company. It's basically retirement funds. It's teachers' retirement funds. It's union retirement funds. It's pension funds. It's 401k funds. Those are the investors who seek to invest in our company and get a return. The commission determines what the appropriate return is. That's how it's set up. The commission does a great job of regulating us, and so this is the system that's in place for St. Louis County and for portions around the state as well.
Of what other areas of the state of Missouri are also covered by Missouri American Water?
Yes. So high level, we serve Jefferson City, we serve Joplin, we serve St. Joseph, we serve Mexico, we serve a bunch of little areas around Branson. We serve 85 wastewater systems around Jefferson City. Warrensburg, and I'm missing a couple. We've had recent acquisitions in Lawson and Eureka. We're certainly growing around the state to help solve some of the infrastructure challenges of the state. We serve roughly 1 in 4 Missourians with water service, and we provide wastewater services as well.
And where is your office?
So our corporate headquarters is in Creve Coeur in St. Louis, but all of our main cities that I mentioned, we have staff working out of those locations.
And are they accessible to individuals like myself who might want to talk with someone face to face?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. I'll just make a last. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I got just one more question. Now, granted, I understand, supply chain issues that have been taking place over the last few years and what have you, but how conscientious are you all on bidding out materials and contractors and what have you to do your all's work? Because in essence, the type of return on your equity that you all do is kind of a cost plus scenario. So the more you spend, technically, the more you would make. So my question is are you all cost conscious on the work that you all perform that you're looking to get a return on? Because like you say, it's kind of a cost plus type scenario.
I understand your point, and that does, right? It seems like, hey, if we charge more, we make more, but that doesn't solve the ultimate problem of getting all the work done. So we do try to be as efficient as possible so I can replace more mains of pipe, so I can replace more services, so I can replace more hydrants. I don't want to overpay for anything. So we do bid out all of our work. We do bid out our material. And our bids are not necessarily open to everyone because we have an invited group of contractors who know how to do our work properly and safely and efficiently. But we do open up our bid list from time to time for contractors to come in our area, and we know what things cost. We know if it's out of whack, and we'll talk to them about, hey, this is way more expensive than it should be. What can we do to make this more efficient? The goal is to get more work done, not to pad the cost.
Okay, last call before we go into the second part of the hearing.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, looking at our water bill and how it's divided up, I see that a little more than half of it is for water usage, and then there's the water service charge as well. So is the rate increase on the entire bill, or just on water usage, or just on water service?
We'll cover a little bit of all those. And the commission will ultimately decide what the right levels are for each of those components.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we are ready. And for the second part of the hearing, I would like to recommend that people please stay on the line. And if you have any comments, to make those in that second part of the hearing so that they are on the record so the commissioners can see those comments when they're making their decision. And I appreciate you attending this evening's local public hearing. And I'll just take a brief break and we'll start with the second part of the hearing. Thank you again.
Or whatever, but they not that close. Oh. That close. But, I haven't been up to Brown in a while. I might go to Brown one day if I see them on the thing.
This meeting is being recorded.
Commissioner Holzman has joined.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Good evening. We're going to wait just a second and see if we get any more commissioners on right now. I'm expecting a few tonight. Can everybody hear me okay?
Just fine. Good evening, Judge Clark.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bench. I'm going to say before we start and actually go on the record while I'm waiting for everybody, you may see my monitor is kind of right here. So you may see my eyes kind of dart off that direction. I don't want anybody to take offense or think that I'm being inattentive. I just may look up to my monitor from time to time. Do I have any commissioners on yet?
Good evening, Judge. Commissioner Holzman.
Thank you, Commissioner Holzman. And I think we might have another commissioner or so attending tonight, so I'll wait just a minute more before we start.
Judges, Commissioner Holzman, my service hasn't been fantastic, so I won't have any questions, being that this is our last hearing. Just wanted to let you know that in advance.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Well, I don't want to keep anybody waiting too long because I know you've had a long question and answer session. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start, and then as if commissioners join, I'm sure they will let me know. So let's go ahead and go on the record. Today is January 26th, 2023, and the current time is 6:45 p.m. As I indicated off the record, the question and answer portion of the public hearing just ended. And if you had questions about this rate case, I hope you were able to get answers. Now, the Missouri Public Service Commission has set aside this time for a local public hearing in file number WR-2022-0303, which is captioned as, in the matter of Missouri American Water Company's request for authority to implement general rate increase for water and sewer service provided in Missouri service areas. My name is John Clark, and I'm the regulatory law judge overseeing this hearing tonight. Now, the Missouri Public Service Commission regulates the rates charged by investor-owned utilities in Missouri to ensure that those rates are just and reasonable. The commission also regulates the quality of service and safety of operations of investor-owned utilities. Now, the commission is made up of 5 commissioners. Chairman Scott Roop and Commissioners Maida Coleman, Jason Holzman, and Glenn Kolkmeyer. One commission seat is vacant at the moment. Now, the commissioners are appointed by the governor to a fixed term and are confirmed by the Senate. Now, the commission employs a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. With me tonight so far, you've heard Commissioner Holzman. He's in attendance, and as I indicated, we may have other commissioners join us. Now, the court reporter is transcribing the hearing so that the commissioners that are not present will be able to review and read your comments later. If you are not speaking, because this is a WebEx local public hearing, If you're not speaking, I'm going to ask that you mute yourself. If you're participating by phone and you need to unmute yourself at any time, please dial *6. And I'm just going to say now, if I've got one person signed up to offer comments so far. If you're on the fence about offering comments to the commission, I would encourage you to lean towards doing so. The commission will have an opportunity to hear the arguments of the parties as well as see the evidence at the evidentiary hearing and in briefs that are filed by the parties. But this is the commission's opportunity to hear from the public, and the commission is genuinely interested in what you have to say about this case. And we want to know how this case affects you and your community. So if you're on the fence about offering comments, again, I would say I would lean towards offering them. Although at the end of the hearing, I will provide another outlet to offer comments if you wish to provide written comments to the commission. Now, at this time, I'm going to ask counsel to enter their appearance for the record, starting with Missouri American Water Company. And I'm going to have to ask you to unmute yourself. I can't hear you. Ms. Niemeyer, I was unable to hear you. I will come back to Missouri American Water Company. On behalf of the commission's
Actually,
staff,
can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you now. Go ahead. On behalf of Missouri
Sorry,
American Water Company.
Sorry about that, technical difficulties. My name is Rachel Niemeyer on behalf of Missouri American Water Company.
Thank you, Ms. Niemeyer. On behalf of the commission staff.
Good evening. I'm Eric Vandergriff on behalf of staff of the Missouri Public Service Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Vandergriff. On behalf of the Office of the Public Counsel.
Good evening, everyone. Lindsay Van Gerpen on behalf of the Office of the Public Counsel.
Thank you, Ms. Van Gerpen. And there are a number of interveners. Are there any parties I haven't called? Okay. I don't hear anybody, so we're going to move on. For those who would like to provide comments today, I'm going to call the names listed on the sign-up sheet in the order they appear. As I indicated, right now, that's just one person. When I call your name, I'm going to ask you to state and spell your name for the record. I'll also place you under oath. And at that time, I will ask you to offer your comments to the commission. And after you offer your comments, don't just immediately log off. I might have questions for you. I might not. Generally, I don't, but sometimes I do. And if the attorneys have any questions for anybody who's offering comments tonight, don't use the hold up your hand feature in WebEx. Please just say something to get my attention. That's a lot easier and ensures that I don't miss you. Now, the commission, myself included, will not be able to answer questions today, and that's because they have to remain impartial until the evidence is presented at the evidentiary hearing. If you have questions, please speak to the parties that spoke to you earlier, representatives of the company, the commission staff, or the Office of the Public Counsel. And if you're listening to people speak today, I'm going to ask that you be polite and courteous and remember that people are here to offer comments and treat them as you would like to be treated. With that in mind, I'm going to call the first witness to offer comments. Is there a John Stambaugh?
Yes, this is John Stambaugh. John, Jon, Stambaugh, S-T-A-M-B as in boy, A-U-G-H, from out in Wardsville, Missouri.
Thank you very much. I'm going to say that because of the commission's confidentiality rules, which does not allow us to disclose customer-specific information, if you want to tell me a general area you're from or a city, that's fine. Please do not give me any more information that in regard to where you live.
Okay, that's fine.
Mr. Stambaugh, would you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
Yes.
And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
Yes, a couple of concerns I have with this rate increase. More so on the wastewater charge for out in our area. It is a flat fee type fee structure versus a volumetric usage fee structure. And like in our household, for what they're even using as an average usage, it's just my wife and I, and therefore we use substantially less water than probably the average household, but yet we're charged the exact same rate. So if we use 2,500 gallons a month and somebody uses 25,000 gallons a month, we're charged the same fee. And the amount of effect that our usage is on, the plant and plant operation is significantly less than somebody that's, using 25,000 gallons, a month. To me, that is a very unfair fee structure for, our wastewater. And out in our area, as a general rule, my sewer bill under the flat fee structure is basically 2 times my water charge, which to me, again, is pretty ludicrous in itself. But because of that flat rate charge, that's just the way it works out, for our household. And to me, it's kind of like I can give a scenario on how would, one of the commissioners like it, that, you pull up to the gas station in your Prius and you put in, 10 gallons or 5 or 10 gallons of gas. And I pull up in a great big SUV and put in 50 gallons of gas, but yet at the end of the day, we pay the same charge. To me, it's just kind of an unfair type fee structure. And I had talked with the individual from American Water earlier on how they, on the volumetric side, they do it. And that's the way the village in which we live, when we used to run it ourselves, they use that same structure where basically they use 3 months through the winter to calculate your average water usage, and then use that for your monthly charge for your sewer fee. Because once you get into the spring and summer months, you're using a lot more water that doesn't go into the sewer system, which you shouldn't be charged for. But like I said, I would like to see more of a volumetric type charge. That way, it's equal for everybody, because you're paying for what, for the usage that you're using the sewer plant for. And also the overall 25.7% rate increase, that seems a little bit exorbitant to me. I mean, I kind of understand that a lot of times in these proceedings, they'll, ask for the world and accept something less. And I'm quite sure that the Public Service Commission will do something similar to that in this situation. But like I say, on the sewer end, that was my biggest concern and biggest complaint, on the flat fee versus just your pay for what you use. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stanbaugh. I appreciate your comments. I don't have any questions for you at this time. At this time, since I indicated before, that's the only name I had listed to speak. Is there anybody else at this point who would like to offer comments to the commission? I see one person with their hand up. Would you please give me your name?
Good evening. My name is Latasha Barnes. I'm an attorney with Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. Would you like our address for the record?
I don't need your address for the record. Thank you very much. Would you please, Ms. Barnes, would you please raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Barnes, go ahead. I believe I remember you from a previous public hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Please, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Your Honor. And to the commission, thank you for allowing me an opportunity to speak. My name again is Latasha Barnes. I'm an attorney with Legal Services of Eastern Missouri. I work in our senior law program. Legal Services is a nonprofit organization that provides free legal help to low-income Missourians for over 60 years. We partner with the community to improve lives, promote fairness, and create opportunities for those in need. Our core values are action, justice, and hope. Through our work, we advocate with and for clients that are most often underrepresented by many of the infrastructure systems in place to benefit all of us. Historically, many of the urban and rural and low-income communities, as well as communities of colors that we serve, have been excluded from improvements to water and sewer infrastructure, while other communities have almost nearly exclusively benefited from these improvements. Because of these disparities, any utility rate increase will result in environmental, social, and economic harm for the Missourians that we serve. And we cover 21 counties in eastern Missouri. Water is essential to the life of our clients. Despite this fact, access to water and other services have steadily risen over the past 10 years by an average of approximately 80%, while federal aid to public water utilities has plummeted. The Low-Income Water Household Assistance Program was introduced to support households during COVID, but is expected to end shortly. Inability to pay for water leads to shutoff and often snowballs into chronic health problems, housing crises, and family and community disruption. For instance, we spoke to a senior couple that live in Florissant, Missouri. They're both in their 70s and retired veterans. Their income is extremely fixed. We were told that after they pay their monthly bills and medical expenses, they barely have enough money left to buy food. If the water bills increase, I do not know how we will be able to continue to live in our home, which happens to be down the street from our church where we volunteer. Ms. Matlock specifically stated, these types of increases hurt seniors and folks like us the most. We also spoke to Ms. Graves, who is a single mother who works 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Her medical expenses are rapidly increasing, and she does not know what she will do if she cannot pay for both water and medical care. Lastly, we heard from Ms. Ingram, who is the mother of a child with a disability. She stated that she is already struggling to make ends meet and does not know where she will get the extra money to pay for the increased rate. Here at LSEM, our clients' health and welfare is paramount to us. We emphasize the necessity of access to water as a fundamental right, and we urge the Commission to reject the request for a water rate increase. We also urge American Water to consider creating additional sustainable water affordability programs that can be adjusted for income and includes protections for our most vulnerable populations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barnes. And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm going to ask you one thing that occurred to me. You said early on, that it would cause environmental, social, and economic harm. I'm curious about the environmental aspect of that.
That's a great question, Your Honor. We actually have research that we've attached to our formal letter of opposition that goes into a lot of that detail. I can't say that I'm qualified to explain it in a way that would clearly articulate it and make sure that it's understandable, but we did attach that research to our formal opposition so that it would be a part of the public record and available for everyone to review.
This letter of opposition, what did you do with that?
We electronically filed it in the case.
Okay, so it's filed with the comments.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure if we didn't have it, that we somehow got it.
Sure, and we're happy to submit it. We can email it directly to the Office of Public Counsel or to the Commission if that would be helpful.
I will leave that up to you. If you would like me to attach that as an exhibit, as a hearing exhibit to this local public hearing transcript, I'd be happy to do so.
Actually, that would be wonderful. We will email it over this evening.
Okay, and Ms. Van Gerpen, you will get that to me?
Yes, Your Honor. As soon as we receive it, we'll get it over to you.
And I appreciate that, and I'm sorry to rely on you as the intermediary for this, but and I will label that opposition letter of legal aid services, hearing exhibit 1. Okay, Ms. Barnes, did you have any other comments?
No further comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else at this time that would like to offer comments to the Commission? I see a hand.
I would, Mr. Clark.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to arrive late. I had to work late this evening.
Miss Oxford, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you please state and spell your name for the record?
It's Jeanette, Jeannette, Mott, Mott, no hyphen, Oxford, Oxford.
And would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
I do.
Okay. And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I'm sorry to arrive late. I had a late day meeting at work that went a little long. I presently work at Paraquad, which is an independent living center for people living with disabilities. And I've had a long career of working in public policy, especially with very vulnerable populations, those with low incomes, those with disabilities, and those that have a number of structural barriers in their way when it comes to securing basic human needs. So when I see that
I'm sorry, Judge Clark. She kind of faded out with that last sentence.
I'm sorry, could you back up one sentence, Ms. Oxford? Our court reporter was having a hard time hearing.
Sure. I don't have a manuscript, so I don't know exactly what I said, but I said I've worked in public policy with vulnerable populations for about 40 years, including people living in poverty, people with disabilities, and others that have barriers in the way of them succeeding or securing their basic human needs. So when I see that there is a rate request by American Water that could raise water bills by $150 a year, I know that there's a lot of my neighbors that cannot afford that. There's a study that MIT produces each year that's called the Living Wage Study. And rather than being a minimum wage study of what is the minimum wage pay, it's a study of what does it really cost to have the basics in life, not an extravagant lifestyle, not a lifestyle where you can take expensive vacations, but to have a decent level of housing, transportation, adequate supply of food. So just to cover your basics, and that includes some things like some money for healthcare, some money set aside for retirement. So things that would be really basic for you. And that study shows that here in St. Louis City, a family of four, 2 parents and 2 children, would need more than $76,000 a year to live. I can put in the chat box for you the link to the study when I'm finished speaking, in case you'd like to save that.
Please don't put anything into the chat box, and that kind of goes for everybody. That's not part of the hearing record. So, if you want to verbally give it to me at the end of your comments, I'll be happy to write it down.
Okay, very good. I'll be glad to give you that web address.
You were saying a family of 4 would need 76,000?
Yeah, let me pull it up right in front of me here so I can tell you the exact amount. They've got it expressed in an hourly wage, so let me multiply it quickly here. It's actually more than 78,000, $78,457.60 if you were going to have a decent level of housing, food, transportation, other very basic needs in the city of St. Louis. Now, there's a whole lot of people in St. Louis and throughout our state that are American Water customers who don't have those kind of incomes. The median income in Missouri, these figures are a little bit out of date. But let me pull that up real quick here.
And are all of these things you're telling me now from the MIT Living Wage Study?
No, the newest study the newest numbers I was going to tell you is actually from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. Has report on incomes in the state of Missouri and how much people pay in taxes. And they publish something, a report periodically. Let me pull that up real quickly. Here we go. This was based on which tax year? Well, yeah, it's dated October 2018. So I'm guessing this is either tax year 2017 or 2018, that the median income in Missouri at that point was $43,500, meaning half of Missourians make less than $43,500 a year. When you go up to the fourth quintile, you get to an average income for that group of $72,800. So that would mean, you know, that a whole lot of Missourians, more than half of Missourians, have less than what it costs to secure those basic human needs. So I believe, as was said earlier, water is an absolute essential in life, and people can't bear $150. A whole lot of our neighbors cannot bear $150 a year increase. Now, when I served in the Missouri House of Representatives from 2005 to 2012, I was a part of the National Caucus of Environmental Legislators, and we studied how outdated water systems are around our country and what a desperate need there is there. So I do understand that this is something that has not been attended to by our society, and that it's really important that we bring our water system up to modern standards for safety's sake, for health's sake, for security's sake, around matters of national security, when there are people that sometimes like to try to harm others through things like attacking water supplies or electric grids, et cetera. We have to think about things like that. But somehow we have to balance that all out so that we don't create hardships for families that are really struggling to make it. So I think that this is a larger increase than the public can bear. So I hope that the Public Service Commission will significantly reduce it, and that for the poorest of my neighbors, some type of public assistance, grants or reductions, some type of aid program to reduce the bill would be available for those that are, say in the bottom fifth of income earners in the state of Missouri. They are truly already very transient in their housing because they can't afford to pay. And often utility bills, including water bills, create a chain of events in their lives where they may have spells of homelessness or miss being able to renew prescriptions and other things that are really desperate situations in their lives. So I'm very concerned about this, having worked with families that are very, very poor for a long time, and currently working with people with disabilities who often have inadequate incomes from either the jobs that they can secure or from public assistance programs. And I thank you for letting me enter at the last minute. As I said, I had to work late and I hustled home to get my computer booted up and onto this call.
I'm very happy you were able to attend. You said you were going to give me the web address for the MIT study.
Yep, the MIT study is at living wage, that's livingwage.mit.edu /counties/29510. 29510 gives you the St. Louis City information. If you use that same address, livingwage.mit.edu /states/29/locations, you can look at every county in the state of Missouri to see what it truly costs for a family to have an adequate level of income to meet their needs.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments, Ms. Oxford.
You're welcome.
And I have no questions for you beyond what I've already asked. Now, I saw a hand up earlier from a Miss Bradley. Bradley, did you have comments you wanted to offer to the commission this evening?
Yes, Commissioner.
We're getting feedback.
I'm so sorry.
Here. Okay. Would you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
I apologize, Commissioner. I could not hear anything. Could you repeat?
Yes, of course. I said, can you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Yes, my name is Nairi Bradley. My name is spelled N as in Nancy, Y-R, E as in Edward, E as in Edward. Last name, B as in boy, R-A, D as in dog, L-E-Y.
And Miss Bradley, would you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and what comments would you like to offer for the commission?
I wanted to first start off by introducing myself. My name is Nairi Bradley, and I'm a resident of St. Louis County. I'm a student at St. Louis University School of Law, and I'm also a single parent of 3 small children. And it's July 1st, 2022, it looks like filing. American Water included a description of the impact its proposal would have on residential customers in each district, utilizing 3,000, 5,000, and 7,000 gallons monthly usage levels identified as, it looks like Appendix B as in boy, reflecting an increase of 37.9 to 39% change in present rates. Most notably, its description illustrates that households with higher utilizations will be impacted the most if its rate request is approved. I urge the commissioners to consider this information before making its determination, as research supports that approving this increase will disproportionately affect single parent and multi-generational households in St. Louis County. The American Community Survey reported that at least 28.1% of St. Louis County households are comprised of single parent family households. Those households, similar to my own, typically have limited income. It is estimated by the water industry that an average person uses 3,000 gallons of water monthly. So a family of 4, like my family, would use 12,000 gallons for bathing, cooking, washing, recreation, and watering. It goes without saying that it would be an injustice to allow American Water to impose a significant additional financial burden on single parent families like my own in comparison to a household comprising of 1 single adult. Moreover, multi-generational households would also be unjustly burdened if American Water's rate increase is approved. Multi-generational households are defined as households that include 2 or more adult generations or a skip generation, which consists of grandparents and their grandchildren younger than the age of 25. Research provided by the Pew Research Center shows that financial issues top the list of reasons adults live in multi-generational homes. Parents living with adult children and adults living with parents are about equally likely to say finances are a major reason for their living arrangement. It is important to note that households comprised of multiple adults do not necessarily equate with increased income capability. Many multi-generational households are comprised of senior citizens who are unable to work and receive a fixed income. I noted that the latest increase, which was 8.7% of Social Security income federal payments for seniors, became effective this month, January 2023, and are $914 worth of payments for an eligible individual. That amount alone would not be enough to meet basic living expenses for one person, let alone senior citizens that also have to pay for additional expenses such as healthcare and necessary prescription costs. So therefore, I urge the commission to consider this information and deny American Water's request for a rate increase. Thank you for this opportunity, for giving me a chance to speak.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bradley. I've got a couple questions, and just because I was writing slow enough, I didn't catch the number. The Social Security increase percentage you gave, you said it was 9, is that correct?
So I have it noted as 8.7%. So it's not quite 9% yet, but it looks like it became effective January of 2023.
Okay. And just because I don't have the case file open in front of me on my computer, you had referenced me to, in regard to the 3,500 and 7,000 gallon usage, to Appendix B of one of Missouri American's pleadings. And is that in their petition? Is that
Yes.
okay. And when was that filed, just so I can go reference it later?
It looks like it was filed on July 1st of 2022.
Okay, so this is the pleading opening the case.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Bradley, for your comments. I appreciate it.
No
I
problem.
appreciate your
Thank
time.
you.
Is there anybody else at this time who would like to offer comments to the commission on Missouri American?
Hi, this is Nicole Essman. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Would you please state your name again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name, and then spell your name for the
Sure.
record.
My name is Nicole Essman. That's Nicole Essman, ESSMAN.
And Ms. Essman, would you raise your right hand to be sworn?
Yes,
Do you
sir.
swear? I'm sorry?
I said yes, sir.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
I do.
And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
I have spoke with the Office of Public Counsel, and they felt that I should be here today to speak. I've received a water report from Missouri American Water, and I have health issues from the water. I have Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. I live east of Westport, but grew up in Chesterfield, and the endocrinologist stated it was from the chemicals in the water why I have this autoimmune disease. I also am a cancer survivor. My mother's a 4-time cancer survivor. The rates of cancer, I could go on and on. My best friend's mom, my aunt has 2 kinds of cancer. Her daughter's recovering from a lymphoma. The things that are in the water are causing cancer. Every hospital has a cancer center. The rates of cancer are unbelievable. We have to protect our youth. Missouri children have a right to healthy, clean water, and they deserve a starting chance. With the chemicals we inhale through showering, bathing, washing dishes, being a stay-at-home mom, I know that this is being absorbed through the skin. I have invested in a Kangen water machine to help with the drinking water and how I clean and take care of my home to reduce toxins and exposure to what is in the water. My father built most of I live near the headquarters. My father built a lot of Creve Coeur, and I feel we can do better for the Missourians here.
You had indicated that your doctor had told you that your health issues in regard to the Hashimoto's, and I'm getting some feedback, so I'm going to remind everybody once again, if you're not currently testifying, please mute yourself. But you had indicated that your health issues in regard to the Hashimoto's and the Hashimoto's thyroid disease, your doctor had indicated that had been caused by chemicals in the water?
That's correct. Chlorine and one other chemical. I have a multinodular thyroid, which means that there's a lot of scar tissue from my body rejecting the chemicals in the water.
And you don't know what the other chemical your doctor indicated besides chlorine?
I believe she said chloride. I
Fluoride?
could be mistaken, though.
Okay.
I'm familiar with the water plant in the Missouri Bottoms also.
And would you care to expound on that or explain the significance of that?
Well, I just have seen how the water is treated, and I feel like we should do better for the future of the state. And, you know, our children deserve a fighting chance. And I know that it's been brought up a lot about people not being able to pay for the water if there's an increase. And I feel that the people who spoke have exhausted that topic. But one thing I feel is that maybe it should go to a ballot, or that there should be federal money given to Missouri American Water and not expecting Missourians to pay this.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot again, but I'm going to ask you, you said you had seen how they treat the water. What specifically have you observed?
Just where it goes through the tubes, and that I haven't seen inside the plant or anything like that.
Okay, so just from
I
the
know
outside
that they
of the plant?
do get, right, I know they do get some of their chemicals from the state of Florida. That's all I know.
Okay, I don't have any further questions for you. Did you have any other comments you wanted to offer?
I think that covers it. I'll go ahead and contact the Department of Natural Resources for further information about all this.
Okay. Well, Ms. Essman, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the comments you've offered the commission tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anybody else who would like to offer comments to the commission tonight about Missouri American's rate case? Okay, I'm not hearing anybody. I'm sorry?
I do have something. Sorry, I have something.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
My name is Derek Kindig. That is DEREK KINDIG.
KINDIG?
Yes.
And would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
Yes.
And what comments would you like to offer to the commission this evening?
In the first half of this call, I was encouraged to voice my question in the second half, so that's why I'm speaking now. There, I asked about the percentage of revenue that was put into a savings account, or if there was a savings account of some kind within American Water's company to put forth against these types of projects. And that's when it was explained that process is more retrospective. So as they put funds towards these projects, they then seek the funds afterward. And so it was brought up that I should bring that up here, and I feel that that would be worth a discussion. That was a question I had, actually, whether or not there were questions, conversations, so on and so forth happening. That way it was making, sorry, I'm hearing feedback. I don't know if anyone.
I was catching a little earlier, but I'm hearing you clearly now. It was just one short incident.
All right, sorry. Okay, sorry. So the thought is, if there were some sort of savings account or discussion toward that, I think that could be an opportunity to try to avoid these types of situations. I understand that there are a multitude of other issues that come with this, whether it's affordability and so on and so forth. But it's a little surprising to me that there wouldn't be some sort of reserve funds to try to get ahead of these situations. And I just really wanted to offer that up as why is that really not in place type of thing. Has to be a topic of conversation to see if it's an option to try to avoid an increase every 3 or 4 months. And then as someone else mentioned earlier regarding their bill, it could just be a line item there, right? Saying, 2%, 3%, whatever it is, goes towards this type of maintenance. I think that would provide more clarity to customers. And so that's really just where my head's at on that.
And just to summarize, to see that I got this right, you're wondering whether there'd been discussions about whether Missouri American had some sort of reserve fund for the purpose of dealing with infrastructure. Is that correct?
Essentially, yes. It would be similar to an individual having emergency fund, right? Like we're kind of expected to save for any kind of emergencies that may happen for us. I guess it's surprising to me that an organization such as American Water wouldn't have that. And it was kind of indicated that it wasn't allowed to. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know, but that's kind of where that was going. And I was encouraged to bring this up during this call.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate that. As I indicated earlier, the commission can't answer questions because we have to remain impartial until after such times as the commission has heard all the evidence and had an opportunity to make its decision. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. I've got no further questions for you, Mr. Is it Kindig? Is that correct?
Yes, Kindig, yep.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time and thank you for attending tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Is there anybody else at this time that would like to offer their comments or thoughts to the commission?
This is Suzanne Valdez.
Ms. Valdez, would you please spell your name for the court reporter?
Yes, Suzanne, S-U-S-A-N-N-E, Franza, F-R-A-N-Z-A, Valdez, V-A-L-D-E-Z.
And Ms. Valdez, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you
Yes,
swear
sir.
or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at this local public hearing is the truth?
It is, yes.
And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
Well, this is more to you, sir.
And if you could speak just a little bit louder, I'm having just a touch.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I am now involved in this practice that the commission has and that you so wonderfully serve because of a horrible destruction of my next door neighbor's home when water flowed out of a 1940 pipe for over an hour. Had that not happened, I don't think I would have ever thought about our Public Service Commission or rate increases from Missouri American Water, Ameren, Spire, any of those companies. The bills come and I pay them, okay? And I guess I'm one of those people who has the benefit of an income that allows me to pay those bills, not unlike others who have been introduced to you this evening. My concern is a failure to communicate. And I believe that failure to communicate is with our utility companies and with our commission. I learned today that I cannot pick up the phone and call Maida Coleman and talk to her about what my concerns are. Something seems to be amiss for me when a resident of the state of Missouri cannot speak to the members of the Board of Commission who are appointed by our governor. So that's a critical issue for me as a tax-paying resident. I'm a resident of University City, I'm a resident of St. Louis County, and I'm a resident of the state of Missouri. As a resident taxpayer, it seems to me like I should have access to all of those individuals because they are in those positions to serve me as a resident. My concern now is, again, I have learned so much since the first weekend of October about how the process works. And like so many other people who have addressed you this evening, there are probably hundreds and thousands of people in the state of Missouri who have no idea of what's going on with this system. And water is basic. Heating is basic. Communication is basic. I believe we're at the point where we need to be telling people in these neighborhoods when a pipe bursts and the water flows for an hour, somebody needs to be here in our neighborhood talking to us. We shouldn't have to second guess about what's going on. I made 2 calls to Missouri American Water soon after that accident occurred. I was assured that I was going to receive a call back, and Your Honor, we are now in the end of January 2023, and never once has Missouri American Water called me back to answer my questions. That is a failure in the business of providing us with water. My comment to you this evening is, it's a question, how can we within the state of Missouri do a much better job of having those elected and appointed officials talk to us, let us know what's happening. We have a full block of people here right now who are waiting to see when the third piece of that pipe breaks. Because when that third piece breaks, Your Honor, it's probably going to affect the house that I live in. And I don't want to wait to see that happen. When they were out here repairing the work that happened in October, it took them till the end of December, sir, to complete the job. And never once did I see the same group of people working on that problem. It was a company after a company after a company, and they were all doing work on behalf of Missouri American Water. They all just came out, did hit or miss, as far as I'm concerned, reconstruction of that problem. And that just spells to us in this neighborhood, another problem is going to happen. And none of us have received any information from Missouri American Water about the problem and how they're addressing it and how they were going for it. And so this evening I had the opportunity to ask that direct question to the president. And he assured me that I send them an email and they'll let me know where my street rests with the next action that could be taken to complete the process of taking a 1940 piping system to completion so we don't have to worry about the next problem. So for me, sir, it's not a matter of paying what I have to pay to have the water. It's a matter of saying, if you're responsible for the water system, you need to fix it. You need to let us know what's happening and no more guesswork. If I call Missouri American Water and ask to speak with someone, I believe they have an obligation to call me back and answer my questions. That's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Valdez, thank you for your comments. I can certainly hear the frustration in your voice. And as I indicated earlier, the commission can't answer questions at this public comment. What I will say is, at least in regard to the commission, is that the commissioners have to follow very specific regulations that set out what kind of communications they can have outside of the case. The Public Service Commission has a Consumer Services Department, and if you don't have that number, I would be more than happy to give it to you. I will also tell you that the Missouri Public Service Commission has a complaint process by which both informal complaints are made and investigated, and formal complaints can be made and adjudicated before the commission. Would you be interested in that consumer services number?
Well, let me offer you this information. Since October, I have gone through the online information about the commission, who the staff are, and as of today, I have names and phone numbers for 3 or 4 people. So thank you for offering that. But I've done a lot of online research, and it's there. I guess the unfortunate thing, sir, though, is that in order to have that information, you have to go online and do a lot of research to get to that. It would be good if maybe it was a more easily available piece of information for all of us.
Okay, well, I will certainly.
I do understand the process. I've studied it in quite a bit of detail, and I understand what the process is. Thank you.
And I apologize. I did not mean to imply that you didn't understand the process. I was just trying to.
No, sir. You did not. I did not take it that way. I greatly appreciate your willingness to offer the assistance. Yeah, it's just taken me I've lived here for a long time, but it took me a few months to a better understanding of what the commission is and how the procedures that it follows. But thank you for your service to the state of Missouri. I greatly appreciate that.
Okay, well, thank you again for showing up tonight, taking time out of your day to offer comments. I will certainly take back to the commission your comments and concerns regarding communication issues. I do have one question, because you had said at least 2 times to my noting that it was a 1940s pipe you believe that ruptured. And I'm just curious how you came to that number. Is it based on the age of the house, or did you receive that information from elsewhere?
My next door neighbor and I have received that information from elsewhere. So we live in University City. We know that the street on which we reside, that those pipes were laid in 1940. Yes, we've done background on that, yes.
And you indicated it was a pipe inside the house that burst?
No, sir. It's the piping that runs down the street.
Okay.
So in 2 different spots on the street, there have been breakages, and the first one was fixed pretty quickly. The second one, unfortunately, the water flowed for over an hour.
And you said it took from October to December to get that repaired?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate them.
Yes, thank you.
Judge, may I ask a clarifying question?
I'm sorry, is that Ms. Niemeyer?
Yes.
Okay, Missouri American, go ahead.
Ms. Valdez, I just want to confirm you're the individual that we spoke to on the Q&A, and we asked that you send us an email. I just want to confirm we have that correct.
Ms. Valdez? Ms. Valdez, are you still there?
Hello?
Yes. The Missouri American asked if you, in fact, talked to them during the Q&A and you provided the email. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, I am the person. Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that, you had a follow-up? Go ahead.
Just thank you for clarifying.
Yes, and thank you.
Is there anybody else this evening that wanted to offer comments to the commission about Missouri American's rate case? Okay, I'm hearing nobody. I'm going to check just for my own record right now. I know that Commissioner Holzman is in attendance. Do we have any other commissioners on tonight that I did not get?
Yes, Judge, this is Commissioner Kochman. I'm in attendance.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kochmeyer. I appreciate it.
And I'm still here, Judge.
Thanks, Commissioner Holzman. Did either of you wish to offer a closing comment today?
Sure. Thank you, Judge. We just want to thank everybody for taking their time to share their opinions with us. we do listen and we do take them into consideration when making decisions. And I believe this is the last hearing that we're going to have on this issue. And so we want to thank all the people who took their time over the course of this last week to testify, and just appreciate you as well, Judge. Thank you for being a part of this, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your closing remarks today. I am going to say, while this was originally scheduled to be the last public hearing for this, because we did convert the one the other day to in St. Louis to a WebEx hearing because of the forecast weather at that time, we are currently looking about rescheduling an in-person hearing in St. Louis. So you may want to watch the media outlets, because there may be something in relation to that. I don't believe it's been determined when that's going to be rescheduled for. We're looking at available times and venues. I'd like to thank everyone who participated today, and for all of those that took the time out of their day to get their questions answered, as well as offer comments to the commission. If you have additional comments that you want to make, or you know someone who was unable to attend tonight who would like to offer their comments and thoughts to the commission about this rate case, they may do so. Offer written comments by going to either the commission's webpage, which has a link, I believe, to offer comments. You will need to know the case number for that, which is, I believe, WR 2022-0303. You can also email comments to pscinfo@psc.mo.gov, or by contacting the Office of the Public Counsel. They are also willing to see that your comments are appropriately filed with the commission. Again, I would like to thank everybody for taking time to participate tonight, and this hearing is now adjourned. We will go off the record.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner. And good night.